She's going to keep barking. Sorry. At any rate, I think we've got some potential for some good trades going into this earnings call. And would I be an option seller at this rate? Not yet. I think there's going to be too much risk in there, and you're going to have to be nimble because, again, there's a lot of money sunk into AI, and that might kind of project possible pullback too. So just be ready to be nimble. But I'm still bullish generally on Microsoft, but I'm careful with this when I see this setup with a wedge. The regression line is going to be kind of the line in the sand where we want to wait and see what the decision is first before we jump in on that. So don't trade the setup, trade the break. That's all I can say on that one. Couple other kind of weird ones here. We got LRCX was one that someone asked me about last week in a comment.
Yeah, so they came out after. They came out after ASML and announced slightly better earnings. The result wasn't great, but I mean, it looks like there's some. If you wanted to go long, I mean, there's some obvious lows here in that kind of 70. Well, I mean, that 71 kind of 40-ish area.
You break into a 2-hour chart here. So, I mean, through the earnings call, we were pretty adamant about finding the liquidity zone. We picked it off pretty good. Now we're just sort of waiting to see if this trend follows. So short term, we got potentially a break for a 1-for-1 and maybe a target of about $82 out of this thing. But so far, TA says it's likely to follow through with that. It was kind of a lackluster earnings call, really. But I think potentially we're going to follow through with some at least consolidation in this range, and that gets us back to about where the mean of this previous consolidation was anyway. So TA and fundamentals would kind of align on that to where, we'll kind of ooze on up to the next resistance level, I think. But be aware, that 2-hour chart does look a little like a triple top, doesn't it? Yeah, let's wait and see what we get. So beat this reversion pivot here around 77. We break out above that. That's probably our key right there. So if we invalidate this triple top and we turn it into a wedge, first target is going to be about 78, 90, and then second target would be following through a full measured move to like 81.40. So it's got some potential to give us a good swing, but this is where you're going to have to be a little nimble. So when you see a triple top, don't just jump in long on the thing. Everybody else did, it looks like. But this is where liquidity will be grabbed right around $78. If it breaks that, cool, we got a good shot higher. Should I even mention AMD, or are we just still waiting on that thing?
Which one?
AMD.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't quite give us a full.
I mean, they just pulled an undercut and rally at the 200-day. I mean, it's never been my favorite semi, but I mean, if someone was going to buy it, this wouldn't be a bad spot.
True enough, and we're right up on top of the 200 MA right here, and we're right above a key liquidity zone. We got denied the bearish move that we're looking at potentially here, So far, so good. The bulls are taking it for at least a reversion. We're looking for like 165 being a short-term target, kind of oozing its way up there for now. Do we potentially see a trend above that? Maybe. Let's stick a pivot at 165, and I'll show you what I mean here. Close enough. Go to a weekly chart. So 165 is about the mean of this entire consolidation in a weekly, and we still have potential to push above that finish, going back to our previous high as a liquidity area here. But if you print this as primary is here, secondary would take us right to a reversion of this previous trend, about 180. And then if we still, get a nice kick out of the election, AI, and everything kind of aligns, we get a really good Microsoft earnings. This will play sympathetic. the potential for a run to that 183.90 still in play, but I'm a little bit less convinced until we get outside of this move here. So maybe I might have to eat my words on that, but so far I'll leave it on the chart. We'll see if it proves itself or not. But I mean, we've been pretty accurate with this stuff before, but this is a time where things are a little less clear. So let's wait and see what happens at 165 and go from there.
Likes it.
Well, they both like it. I apologize if that's super loud on the YouTube side, guys. But these guys.
Should we look at like Chewy stock or something just to make
You know what?
happy?
Maybe. Let's look at Chewy. I've loved Chewy. That's a great company. Now that I mention it, it's HWY, right? Yeah. I mean, they were so awesome when my old dog passed away. I mean, it was just incredible how kind they were with that. They sent flowers and a card, guys. How many companies do that? You know, that gets me in the feels. But you know, feelings and emotions, they don't trade stocks very well. But if you're looking for a good company to go into eventually, that phone's starting to ring. We're looking for a reversion trade back down here to about $26. It's pretty obvious. Sorry. I muted my phone, but the ringer didn't get muted. Let me get some dope out here. I forgot to extend this liquidity zone. I talked about these guys a couple weeks ago, and you know, we pretty much followed through with the target trade. It made that 1-for-1 or pretty damn close. Now we're pulling the reversion trade. If we can hold liquidity here, find support around $25, I like a long around there. But for now, it's been a decent short, coming back through this 2750 pivot and going for that liquidity zone. So I'm going to start saying probably in the next few days here, things might start to turn around. And, you know, we've had our earnings call back here on the 28th of August there. And I think maybe we got a pretty good shot at finding support in that mean, kind of giving that half back from that earnings blast, you know. I don't know if I would short it to 25, but I would be looking there to get long. Just my opinion. I got to still say I love the company, but I don't let my heart lead me into a trade ever. It's all pure science, guys. So just be nimble if you're going to try and get long, and that's going to be where I'd be looking. And then as far as options income on this thing goes, if I were to wheel trade this thing, it'd probably yield close to 8%, which is less than ideal for my wheel trade. I love to yield stuff like 15 to 20% if I can. Not the best wheel trade candidate, but a solid one for a long term if you're looking to invest in this thing for years and years to come. Market structure's kind of had its way with it. We're in that second consolidation phase, and if we're gonna trend, this is where we're gonna start looking. Probably within the beginning of Q4 here, beginning of Q1 here, we'll see some potential for a swing into a trend. For now, I think I would rather, get in a better deal, possibly into like between 23 and 25 would be a good area to look for long-term entries on this thing, rather than try to jump into it here and make it up with option sales. Getting to the point on option sales, if you wanted to talk a little bit about wheel trading, one that Mr. Greenberg turned me on to from last week. Let me pull it up here. This is interesting. It's a company called Bitfarms. They're a Bitcoin miner, but
what's the symbol? I may own that one.
BITF.
I don't own that one.
The yield on the options chain for this thing is telling me potentially if you're nimble and you can swing trade options with next week expiration, you could own this thing for free inside of 6 weeks with the premium you would earn on it, which is pretty damn good. I failed to sell puts on this thing when I wanted to. I had limit orders set; they never filled. Kicking myself now because I should have just went long equity and then sold puts anyway, and then walked it into selling calls now. But I think we're probably going to stay in range unless Bitcoin breaks 70K, and then this thing will take off with it. So
I think Bitcoin could take off. And I mean, and this also could be a Trump type trade.
Yep.
So I own calls on BTCL. I also own IREN, Mara. Unfortunately, I don't own MSTU. I sold my calls when it was at 49. Now it's at 88.
I mean, yeah, that was a hell of a parabolic thing too. I mean, it was prudent to take profit when you did, so I wouldn't complain about that.
No, I mean, just micro strategy is just.
Yeah.
I mean, it's defying all logic and reason.
And that's the time to where you gotta be prudent. I mean, if you were staying long in it, cool. Yeah, the market can remain irrational and keep on just running that thing to the moon and possibly to Neptune for all we care. But in the meantime, we've been around trading for a while, and we're good enough at it to sustain ourselves with it. And we don't make that money leaving stuff in speculative modes like that. We tend to be a little more prudent with our profit taking when it comes to that. So sure.
And it also comes down to your situation. I mean, I'm 55 years old. I'm not going to take massive risks and potentially lose money. But one of my kids who might have a much smaller portfolio, I mean, YOLO the micro strategy. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you got time to risk it, and you're not getting into a position where you don't want to risk a whole bunch because you might not be able to. I mean, you get in your 70s, you might get dementia or something and totally lose touch with the market. Not the time to be taking that kind of risk. I'm only 46, but I'm getting to a point where I'm taking less high risk trades and more prudent trades myself. So yeah, it is affecting me. But then again, as long as my brain continues to function the way it does, I will definitely be day trading like a madman. And I've discovered some things along the way that are really, really awesome that I'm going to start teaching when it comes to price action in ways that I don't think have been thought of before. I got something kind of up my sleeve here. And I'm beginning to talk to our members about it. And it's one of the price action strategies that will have absolutely nothing to do with being able to mold into long-term price action. This is just for scalping. So it's not something I would teach for market analysis for long-term swings and trades like we do here. But for day trading, it is phenomenal. And it has to do with the Renko chart. So I'll get into that with the members, but I'm going to keep it proprietary until I figure out all the little details that I want to learn on it, because I'm still adapting this strategy. But holy smokes, it's really really killing it. So like for stuff like MSTU, if I was to day trade it, that would be killer. But again, I'm going to rather day trade it, and that's the prudence in it, is to day trade it. If something's parabolic like that, and if you end up losing sleep overnight holding it, it's not something you want to hold overnight. So taking profit when we did, that was ideal. We've done what we wanted to do with it. We're happy there. We prudently took profit on that. But continuing to day trade it, no brainer. Definitely day trade the living crap out of that stuff. The more volatile, the better. So definitely, if you're into day trading, those are the stocks you focus on. You look at what's in play, what's going parabolic, what's going nuts, and you're just as quick to short it as you are to long. So, stuff like that will pay off. But in the meantime, I can make some pretty prudent income on something like BITF. And like I said, with the right option strategy with wheel trading, you could own this thing for free within 6 weeks. I'm not kidding. This is one of those. They're rare. Typically when I find them, or when somebody else finds them for me in this case, they're stock trading around $2. They got enough volatility to have open interest in the weekly options chain. And they have a weekly options chain, so that proves they're volatile enough to be, within reason for making income. And the other part is the swings from high to low on those options prices play really well with power hour and with opening range. So if price is like volatile in the morning, volatile in the afternoon, but the midday is just kind of flat, it's perfect because you go and you sell into that heightened implied volatility from the opening or power hour, sell to open options there. Midday, when it starts to flatten out, you could literally the next day buy to close those, wait for power hour, sell them again, and you're overlapping like nickels and dimes here on the contracts. But on a $2 stock, nickels and dimes pay for it very quickly. It sometimes will take you even less than 6 weeks to own something like this for free. So learn that strategy. Wheel trading is fun. When you mess with a penny stock like this, it's really fun. Anyway, I think we're about an hour in. Unless we got anything else we want to throw at it.
I think that's it. Just, be careful. I think the best trade we got coming up is volatility crush.
Yes.
Barring some massive event, I think the election comes and goes and volatility comes way, way down.
Agreed. It might be a good time to do some UVixie puts or something in the meantime.
We're getting there.
We're getting close.
And certainly some SPY calendar spreads.
Yes. And then lastly, I'm still not in a position on TNA. I'm still sitting pretty with the cash in my account from that one. I might be selling some puts if things dip quickly. If not, I'll just end up going long equity and starting to roll into covered calls and logging some puts to get into the other position. Either way, that thing has been I was intent on making that a zero cost within a fiscal year, and here I am from March until about the beginning of October here. I own it for free. So that's pretty cool. And it's a technicality because it beat my running total, but you know what I mean. So now if I enter it, I have to average that. But still, TNA has been awesome for using a leveraged ETF to make income on options. And I think I'm still long-term looking at these leveraged ETFs that you manage to be very, very lucrative for that same strategy. And once the bid-ask is tightened up on it enough, I'm in. I will be doing exactly what I do with TNA with those, for sure. I'll be teaching others how to do it too. So stay tuned. We'll get into the details with that eventually, and we're gonna show you guys how to really capitalize on other people's speculation when it comes to selling options. So until then, thanks again. If you guys want us to look at a ticker anytime, you can throw us a comment. And Quasar Markets just commented, go get that BITF. Yeah, it's going to be a chasing game at this point for me, but I did scalp it a little the other day, so I'll live with it. But yeah, looking down the road, I think we're going to have some really interesting things coming. And if you stay tuned, tell your friends, get our viewership up. We'll feel better about ourselves, and we'll do it more often. Until then, thanks again, guys. We'll see you on Thursday.